You started your journey in mediation and the Wayfind Group said just after COVID. A lot of people went through really intense, experiences through their own mental health. Have you found that while you've been on this journey, that you've noticed that organisations have changed and adapted? And what experiences have you come across to help people?
I was asked this earlier today, and I think that that is absolutely true because organizations have a renewed focus on employee well-being. It doesn't mean what it used to mean. The employee assistance programs aren't as effective because people have different expectations, and they have longer term challenges. And I think one of the things that I have experienced post-pandemic is that people are finding it harder to build and maintain trust. People are staying in organizations for shorter periods of time. People are tired of this kind of uncertainty about what the future looks like, whether or not they can really trust leadership to advocate for them, whether they're being paid commensurate with the role that they are performing. There's a huge amount of unrest that goes on in organizations. And then when you couple that with some of the more nefarious challenges like bullying or harassment or sometimes even criminal conduct, you get a situation where people are afraid to speak up, or people don't know how to get themselves out of a situation when they know that they need the money to be able to pay their rent or pay their mortgages. And so it's very difficult, I think, when people come to have a conversation to take what is being said at face value. You often have to do a lot more digging to understand the true picture of what is going on and where the root of the problem is. And I find, as a workplace and employment mediator, sitting between completely different stories that aren't even in the same book, it's amazing what comes out when it's the first time that somebody feels seen and heard. And it's amazing when you can build trust and rapport with somebody else so that they can tell you what's really going on, not what they wrote in the grievance letter, or not what came out of the original investigation. I think creating that opportunity for people to really have to pin down what it is that they want and what it is that they're asking for really helps an organization to both deal with the root of the problem, but also not have to think about it again anymore.
Do you only deal with your high-end clients then, like C-level, or do you work with people throughout the whole organization to help them? Because obviously someone being heard if they're management might be slightly different to someone being heard if they're ignored, say, at reception.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So we do focus on leadership, but we've also facilitated processes between leadership, team members, and their teams. And so we would help rebuild the cohesion there. We would seek to repair when damage has been done. We work not just with private company boards and CEOs, but we also work with public sector bodies and organizations, as well as the third sector, because we think and have always thought, and I can say this as the founder, that even the charity organizations are deserving of the same opportunity to create repair because they have the ability to impact grassroots and communities in a way that sometimes the larger organizations don't. So our business model is to ensure that each client, regardless of level in society, receives that access to that service.
You speak to leaders, as you say, from all those areas, so they are very different. Have you learned anything from your journey with regards to how we're moving forward? You mentioned about the societal changes and how people don't necessarily want to go to work or they're unhappy. So from the people that you've spoken to, those leaders that you interact with, have you seen that there is maybe a positive shift as we're moving forward?
I think human beings are intrinsically hopeful. I like to believe that a lot of leaders are optimists, and I like to believe that the best is yet to come. I think the immediate near-term challenge is economic. And I think that is the Achilles heel that we are all struggling with. Not just as it used to be, how do we do more with less, but how do we collectively work with others in partnership or through community to be able to achieve what we've set out to do here. And I think the most dynamic leaders, the ones who are willing to be adaptable, the ones who are willing to pivot, the ones who are willing to take risks and try things differently, are the ones that are going to be fit for this next era that is coming. But I think that's all to say, those pioneer leaders are what will bring the rest of the leader community with them. Because I think once somebody else sees somebody else taking those risks or having those conversations, they will follow in line for whatever it means for them to be bold enough to say, okay, we have to do things differently because we're in a world that doesn't look like a world we've ever seen before. How do we chart uncharted waters? What are my peers doing? Okay, let's go for it.